Hi, this is Evan Luberto with Gainsight on the Success for Admins team, covering another module of Admin 101. This time we'll be covering Cockpit. Cockpit is a centralized area of Gainsight where a CSM is going to spend the majority of their time, along with the C360, which will be covered more in depth in other sections. The Cockpit revolves around several key objects within it: calls to actions, tasks, and also playbooks, which we'll be covering more as we go throughout this module. And in addition to that, it also has two different views that you can see, both the list view and the calendar view. So what a call to action is, or a CTA. A CTA is something that's tied directly to a customer, and they're essentially the backbone of Cockpit. A CTA can be created in one of two different ways. They can either be created manually by going in and creating the process and assigning it to someone, or they can be generated by a business rule, such as a rules engine that you would have set up that would be triggered by either usage data or triggered by some event that would happen. There are a couple different types of CTAs that are available to you. There is an opportunity, which is something that's going to influence you in a positive way, possibly a chance to upsell or something similar to that. A risk, which is going to be a negative trend, something that shows that you might have lost an adoption champion, an admin may have moved to another company, or there could be a large amount of support tickets. An event, which would symbolize something happening as the first time they reached over 100 logins within a period of time, a 9 on an NPS score or higher, or something similar to that. Additionally, CTAs also can be objective or custom. An objective type of CTA is going to be something related to a success plan or a goal. It's going to be a goal that you are striving for and hoping to achieve. Whereas custom is going to be any and everything that doesn't fall into one of the previous categories that have been mentioned here. Gainsight admins are going to create these as needed for whatever purposes might best suit your org. The role of an admin within Gainsight, and in this in particular within Cockpit, is so that you can support end users through a couple different functions that we have available. You will be establishing different CTA types, different reasons, and the priorities set behind all of these different CTAs. You'll modify the detail view layout so that it will suit your organization best. That way different CTAs will pop up to the people that need to see them in the most efficient way possible. You'll also create playbooks and assign permissions, giving different members of your team access to different portions of Cockpit, making them able to view different CTAs. And in addition to that, with the creating of playbooks, you will be designing the entire playbook actually, which we'll cover more in depth in a little bit. The last thing that you'll be doing as an admin is you would be mass editing CTAs and tasks. This isn't something that's going to come up a lot, but in the event that it does need to happen, it is something that you will have the ability to do in order to make sure that everything is running smoothly within your organization. So what you see here is actually two different views, the ones that we spoke of earlier. The one on the top left is going to be a view of the list. This is going to show everything in a list of order, which you can sort via different options. You can see them briefly at the top, but we'll cover this more shortly. The second view is going to be the calendar view. This is going to show you when it is that different events are due. So you can see here in this example, it shows July 5th, 2015, and it shows that there is a renewal in 30 days, and this would be the day that it needs to be taken care of. And so that's going to be something that's coming up soon, so you can look at everything in a timeline as opposed to just a normal list of things. And I'll show you how to access both of those as well. A task is a subsidiary of a CTA. It's essentially a to-do. It's going to be something that helps break down a CTA into multiple parts. So for instance, if the CTA we just mentioned about renewal within 30 days was broken down to a couple steps, the steps could be something such as contact the customer, establish an NPS score, and then reach out to them to try and find out if they would like to renew or not. And that could be just an example of a way that you could set down some tasks in order to help break up a CTA. There can be multiple tasks per CTA because you can create each task manually as needed. Additionally, playbooks can be assigned to CTAs to automatically create all the different tasks associated with a particular CTA. This helps streamline the different process and makes it a lot easier to create CTAs in a more efficient manner. Onto a playbook. A playbook is essentially a set of standard tasks for a given CTA. So this is a huge way that you're going to be able to help bring consistency and a standardization to your CSM team. Because in creation of a playbook, it'll have a set number of tasks that you're able to assign to any CTA, which will demonstrate creation of that later, but it's going to help bring new CSMs up to speed quicker because they're going to be working with the same task and everything that everyone else is, and also it's going to provide us consistency within your reporting because once again, everybody's going to be looking at the same task on the same topics so that everyone will be reporting the same numbers. So within playbooks, in order for somebody to be able to create or even manage a CTA, the admin has to configure a few various elements first. A playbook is really easy to create and edit. It's essentially the dragging and dropping and bringing in of a couple different tasks that you would like in creating all of those. Within some of the recent versions of Gainsight, as of this filming, you're able to set permissions on who can and who cannot edit playbooks, giving you more ability to manage your organization how you best see fit. Within a playbook, a CTA can be created and it will start off a playbook for use for different tiers of customer, renewal date, or etc. What this essentially means is if you were to have a high, medium, and low touch customer, you could have 3 different playbooks, one for each touch level. That way you could have the necessary processes in place for whichever need may arise. A few quick tips and tricks based off just Cockpit, CTAs, and playbooks altogether. When creating a CTA by a rule, if the CTA rule runs twice and finds a CTA with the same account, assignee, type, status, reason, or anything similar to that, it's not going to create a new CTA, as it's trying to prevent duplicates from being created. There's also the ability that you can add a CTA name as part of this duplicate check. So this would be done so that anytime a CTA was created, it wouldn't create another CTA with the same name, assuming that it wasn't assigned to the same person, didn't have the same type, or missed any of the previous features that it may have. You can work with multiple records, so if you're working with a one-to-many record, it could create multiple CTAs, so always be careful of that. And also, if an opportunity close triggers a CTA, multiple CTAs can and will be created for a single customer, assuming that you have multiple different rules based off looking at this different opportunity that may be available. So another thing to watch out and look for. In regards to playbooks, you should always make sure to keep your task to be helpful for a CSM and not something that is easy to forget or something they might accidentally look over. It's something that you want to ensure is something the business needs to take care of that is within compliance for the different processes that you may have. If there are 2 different tasks likely to be completed at the same time, you can just enter it in as one task. That's going to save on the amount of tasks within each CTA, which will make everything look cleaner and a lot more organized. Now we're going to move on to a few exercises. As long as you're following along within the PowerPoint, you'll be able to do them with us. Otherwise, I'm just going to walk through all these different ones on the screen available. So here we are within Gainsight. So the first thing we're going to go over is the Cockpit administration. So in order to do that, the first thing you're going to want to click on is going to be the administration section. Once you've reached the administration tab, you're going to click on Cockpit configuration. Once it's loaded up, you will see all the different things you have available here. You'll see if you have snooze, associated contacts, what order you would like tasks to display, if you want chat or post to be able to be made on behalf of an account or on something else, different linked objects, and so on and so forth. We recommend that you review the different layouts that you have configured for CTAs, such as things down here, and different things that you have listed within your org, so that way you're familiar with what it is that you have and what changes you may need to make in order to make it work best for your org. The next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is going to be the manual creation of a CTA. In order to do that, the first thing you'll want to do is access Cockpit by clicking up here. So here we are within the Cockpit tab of Gainsight. Before we get started into the exercise, there are a few things I want to go ahead and show you around just to make it so that you are more easily able to navigate this page. So first of all, here we have listed a couple of different ways to search. You're going to see that there are different ways you could show the closed calls to action. You could show only the important ones, which are going to be flagged, or you could show only the snooze calls to actions. You'll be able to filter down by a type of option, so a risk, an opportunity, an event. You can select any and all you want. The priority levels, so you can go anywhere from high to low, or anything you may have set up otherwise. You can select an owner, so you can search by any and all members of your entire CSM team. The reason this exists is because, say for instance, I went on vacation, and Robert Medford over here was supposed to make sure that he took care of my CTAs while I was gone. Then he would have to be able to view all the different ones that I have available to make sure there wouldn't be any stops or delays within the product delivery. There's also going to be grouping by the due dates that they're available, or you can switch it over to a customer, type, status, priority, reason. You can see all the different lists here. Additionally, you can also sort by the due date, the age, priority, customer, health score, ARR, or the renewal date. All these different things will make them viewable to you. You can also switch the display order. And then over here is where we're going to be able to add a CTA, which we'll get into in just a moment. In addition to that, up here you'll see that we're actually currently in the list view. Right next to it is going to be the calendar view. Clicking on this takes us into the calendar view. And as you can see, as you click on different dates, it'll actually load up different CTAs that you may have that are going to be due on upcoming dates or things like that. So we can see here that we have a case study that's actually going to be due relatively soon. It has the exact same search options that you may have seen previously. The only difference here is you can go by day, week, or even the month to see any and everything that may be happening within that point in time. Also, you have the ability to search for CTAs up here in the top right corner to help filter it. The last thing we're going to go ahead and show you is going to be playbooks over here before we get more in depth in it. This is the link that we'll click in order to create a playbook, which I'll touch more on later. We're going to go ahead and create a new CTA now. In order to do that, we're going to go ahead and add an opportunity this way. Our subject is going to be a marketing case study. Customer, we're going to go ahead and make it so that it's Wally's World, which once you begin to type in, it should go ahead and pull up the customer based on a search feature. We're not going to do anything with relationships here. As far as owner goes, we can search it or we can just click assign to me. There are no associated contacts with this, as I will be the only person. You will want to select a reason as for this, and because we are doing a marketing case study, we're going to hope we can try and make this into some kind of upsell. So I'm just going to select this for this, and we will have any options to create comments and also select a due date here as well for whatever day we think it's going to be due. April the 4th sounds like a good day to me. We're going to save that. Now that we have that saved, we're going to go back into the list view so we can look at it a little bit more. And you can see here we do have a list of all the different things that we have available over here. Well, in order to make this quick and easy, we're going to go ahead and just search for it here by looking for our marketing case study. And we can see that this got pulled in. They're all based off of Wally's World. So we're going to click on this, which is going to pull up this page on the right side. This is going to show us all the different information here. It's going to show us the reason, its priority, and also its status on here, the account, what type it is, if there are any associated contacts, the account information, any calls to action that may be done with this, and all the opportunities that may be existing as well. Scrolling down on this, you can see you also can look at any comments that may be available here as well. In the top right corner, it's got the due date, it has the snooze button, milestone, and then also the ability to add a task, a playbook, or delete an opportunity. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a task really quick just to show what that's like. Once you click add a task, it's going to pull this up. It'll ask for you who the assignee is, and it'll ask for the subject of this as well. We're going to enter the subject of contact customer. We'll select the due date as something before the due date on the full assignment. So March 30th will work fine. Next, we're going to make sure that the priority is set correctly. For this one, we're going to say hi, as it is important that we do this. The status on this is going to be in progress. It's something that I'm currently working on. And then also we're going to enter in a description. The description is going to be any and everything that we may have information on this as far as it goes so far. Down here, we will have the default group. This is going to be able to enter in the time of how long we believe it's going to take. The source is going to show what the source of this is, if it was identified via different ways or notified by different ways. And then also findings is going to be all the different findings that you may have found throughout this. You can select as many or as little as you need. And then we're going to save as we're not selecting any of those. So now we have a task associated with everything, which is a great start. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do is how to create a playbook and then apply it to a CTA. So here we are on the Playbooks tab. So as you can see over here, we already have a lot of playbooks already created, and we can use any of these. But we're actually going to go ahead and just add our own one by clicking Add Playbook right here. The type is going to be an opportunity. We're going to go ahead and name this one Market Research. And then as far as comments go, we actually don't have any comments on this one as well, but this is where you could go ahead and enter in anything you might need. We're going to click Save, and this is going to have this playbook exist. Now, over here, we're going to go ahead and search for it. And you can see that we do have quite a few ones over here, but we're going to go ahead and click on this one over here, as this is the one that we need. So now we'll see that we have a couple options. First of all, this one's going to say if it is on or off, allows us to duplicate, allows us to edit the playbook, or allows us to delete the playbook. We can search through the different tasks that we have, but as we don't have any task, we're going to go ahead and create one here by clicking Add Task, and you'll see the exact same form that we had previously created is going to be something that's going to go ahead and pull up here. We're going to go ahead and cancel out of this one as to not waste any of your time, and I am going to show you one really important feature, and that's Vault importing. So right here is the icon for Vault. Upon clicking on it, it will load you into this page here. This is going to show you all the different playbooks that have been implemented into Vault thus far. You can see that you can search for them via the different categories they're in, via a risk, a life cycle, an opportunity, or something related to an admin. Let's go with an opportunity. So now we'll see that there are a couple different ones listed over here. Let's go ahead and look at the 90 days until renewal. What I can do with this one is upon clicking it, it'll show me all the different tasks that I have associated with it, so I can review it and see if it's something I like. Upon clicking next, it'll say to configure and download. What we're going to be able to do here is select a lot of different mappings that are going to have things. So, for instance, if it is a high priority mapping, then we can set it to be one of these three. So if we want anything that comes in as a high priority to stay as a high priority, then we'll select it as that. And the same with medium, we can do that here. An opportunity, right over here, we're going to go ahead and keep that as an opportunity as well. And you'll see that there are different fields, and depending on what you're selecting, different things are going to become available. As far as this goes, we're going to automatically start it as not started just to make sure we don't have anything otherwise. Once we click download, it will download. Once it's downloaded, you'll receive an icon on the top right that says it has been downloaded. We can then go directly back to Playbooks by clicking here. And now that we're back under Playbooks, we'll actually be able to search for 90, and then we'll see right here it pops up. 90 days until renewal. So we click on that and we'll see all of the tasks have already been pulled in and sent right here. So this is now a playbook that we've imported. The last thing I'm going to walk you through briefly is going to be how to assign a playbook to a CTA. So back here, we're going to go ahead and pull up our market research one that we had previously been working on, which is listed right here. We're going to pull it down and we're going to actually apply a playbook. That's going to pull this up. It's automatically going to select the first playbook in the list. So we'll see all these different options that we have available to us. But we can see down here one of the ones that we imported. We'll pull that up. It'll pull everything available, shows the priority. We can change the owner if needed. We can look through and see everything based on how it is, and then we can click apply. Once we've clicked apply, you can see it automatically loaded up with all the different tasks that need to be associated with this one. So it'll show every single thing that needs to be taken care of, when it needs to be taken care of, and then also if it is or isn't completed or closed, we can click on this checkbox here. With that, that concludes this lesson on Cockpit. We hope to see you in future modules. Thank you and have a wonderful day.